Hey, hope everybody's having a good Friday afternoon. We got a major garage sale going on here at my house, so I'm trying to stay as far away from that as I can. But anyways, so I helped out a guy on Facebook. You guys might have seen it. I think it was Brad Shaw or Brandon Shaw. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name or forgetting actually. But anyways, this is under the passenger seat. All vans from 2007, late 07 to the present, has the Butler System Fuse and Relay Center right underneath the passenger seat. You got to slide that forward to get to it. Open up this cap, and on the back you'll see all the labeling for all the fuses that are in there. So if you orientate this the way it lines up with the fuses, you'll see exactly what each one of those stand for. And so if you're having an electrical issue, besides the three major components, getting a red light condition on the panel, and Butler, by the way, has a video on their website describing what 3 or 4 things to look for if you're getting a red light condition. I posted some time ago about having a green light situation. Ended up being a ground wire at the clutch. But anyways, this young man was suffering, went to a job, cleaned, went to another job, and it wouldn't start. And so let me show you what happens. So here's with all the fuses in place, and so it starts right up, comes up to my standby idle, which is about 900 on my truck, almost 1,000. Okay, now let me show you what happens. So that's normal operation, obviously. Now let me show you what happens. This one right here, overheat and latch relay. It's a 10 amp fuse, and if you count them down, these are diodes. You count those down, they're all 10 amp red 10 amp fuses. Straight down, it's the center one of the 3. Now watch what happens. So that overheat and latch relay fuse, I just pulled out a 10 amp. Now watch. Nothing. Nothing on the system engage switch. I do have power here because the panel has power. But the overheat and latch relay, that is for your overheat temperature, overheat sending unit it's mounted on the water pump thermostat housing. And that's what that's designed to do, is if that triggers, that overheat sending unit on the engine triggers off, it will cut the power off to your Butler, shutting it down, saying, hey, there's a problem, check it out. Now, obviously there's no power here. There's power to this 12-volt electrical outlet. Now you go and reinsert this 10 amp fuse. And by the way, Butler does put a couple extras there for you, because fuses go bad. Bingo. So everything's back to normal. Now here's something else that I'm talking to Christopher Castillo about, and I'm not sure if this has cured his problem, but there's also, look in there, standby module. It's a 5 amp, and if you look at the bottom down there, right there is a standby module. It's right here, this one right here. And then you have your delay module, which is your 8-second delay, so you don't shut the unit down and start it right back up. There's an 8-second delay. That's this right here. This standby module is what brings the RPMs up to 1,000 or 900, whatever the case might be. Now watch what happens when I pull. Before I do that, again, here's everything normal. Now watch what happens when I pull that 5 amp fuse out. It's a center fuse. the standby module fuse. Pull that 5 amp fuse out. Now watch. Unit starts up, but it doesn't come up to our standby idle, which is 900 to 1,000. So I told him to check the 5 amp fuse in there and make sure that's not tripped. Even if the fuses sometimes will look tripped, you want to go ahead and replace them anyways, just to get that out of the factor. And so now watch. Now I've reinserted that 5 amp fuse for the standby module to fire on when I engage the system. Now watch. So a couple tidbits about the Butler fuse and relay center underneath the passenger seat. I don't like going into a lot of that because I don't want people misfiring something or putting the fuse where it don't belong or overrated fuse. And by the way, never put a 15 amp where a 5 amp is, or a 20 amp or a 10 amp is, just to get you by. Don't do that. Okay, so anyways, I hope this helps, and it's not the end all be all to this box here, but and here's one more thing before I cut you loose. You see that fuse right there? It says front clutch. Let me show you what happens if you pull that out. So these are basically, I'm just showing you if the fuse breaks, this is basically what happens. System engaged, everything was working fine just a second ago. Nothing. Now here, the engine RPM's idled up, see that? Engine RPM's idled up, but nothing. And there's no light on the panel on that switch except for the green light down here. So it's saying, hey, I want to fire. I brought the RPMs up because the standby module is working, but the front clutch fuse got triggered off and has to be replaced. And you'll get that same similar symptom if there's a ground wire on the back side of the clutch. For example, you're working your day and you're working the day around and you blow out some belts, and if they don't just snap and fall to the ground or wrap around some pulleys, one or a piece of a belt could zip around and rip the ground wire out of its position and disconnect the ground from the front clutch, and you'll have that same symptom. Okay, so I think that's the Butler Fuse and Relay Center in a nutshell, but I hope that helps some people. Chip's Butler service, and I'm all over it, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks.